Hi, folks. So, this is my first attempt towards making a typical formal informative video. And this is in the wake and the rise of this COVID-19 coronavirus thing happening. And one thing which most of the people have seen in the past few days is that most of the people are now going remote, right? And working remotely has been a very prominent and widely spoken thing from, of course, a few years. The moment freelancing economy, gig economy picked up, people have been speaking about it. But now, because of the rise of this COVID-19 happening, most of the organizations have moved completely onto remote working, or they have given leave to their employees, and most of the people are now exploring remote working. And yesterday I posted one of the a small post on my Instagram, that is your organization ready for working remotely, or to have equipped yourself to work remotely. Most of the people, of course, as I said, most of the people said that they're not ready yet, or they have never explored it because the organization structure was never like that. So this video is primarily most like I'm making this video primarily to share my working experience, or my experience of running 100% digital remote organizations. Just to give you a quick background in terms of credibility, or in terms of what we do as at Codesign Labs, we're a 100% remote organizations. We're a 100% remote organization. We work with 7 to 8 full-time. We are a very lean team, of course. We work with 7 to 8 full-time project managers who work remotely, primarily from south of India. We work with 150 contractual freelancers, and so it's like managing a team of 7 or 8 managers, and then 150 or 100 plus employees. And we have roughly around 100 plus clients in our portfolio, across different spectrum. So right from travel to education to fintech to multiple other sort of I would say industries and domains. We deal with all of them, and of course multiple projects are running simultaneously. So it's like a full-fledged agency on the cloud. We call ourselves as a design ops management company. And I can the idea behind making this video is to share a few best practices with all of you who are going remote and who want to explore working remotely. And I got a few interesting questions also, which I'll try and answer into this particular video as well. But yes, before I jump onto the best practices and tell you what I have or we have learned in past 4 years of running Codesign Labs as a 100% full-time remote organization, let me also give the credit where it's due, and let me address and give the credit to my co-founder Neha. She is the CEO for this business, and whatever practice I'm going to tell you, or whatever tools maybe I'm going to tell you, were all set up and explored by her. So kudos to her and her entire experimentation for setting up all these things in place, and enabling us to be a full-time 100% remote working organization. So the first thing that I want to share with you as a practice, or as a best practice, when you basically talk about remote working or setting up a remote organization, is that time overlap. I think when we work remotely, and of course, most of our clients are also not just Indian. We have clients working across Australia. We have clients from US. We have clients from London. So we have clients across 3 or 4 different international geographies. And of course, we have freelancers across south of India, and then north of India, and then a few from west and east. So we have roughly 150 freelancers spread across multiple things, multiple places. So the most important thing that you need to kind of set up, if you have to create a culture in an organization when have to make sure that remote thing happens properly, is setting up a time overlap, right? There has to be a proper start time and an end time, because when you are working from home or when you're working remotely, there's no official beginning time or there's no official end time. And because there's no time barrier, and because you can't see people, the entire idea or entire concept is just to give them a call, or write them an email, or poke them on Slack or Flock or tools like those, or maybe just a WhatsApp. So but to ensure maximum productivity, my recommendation or my suggestion would be that you definitely need to have a proper formal time setup or a time overlap. In fact, especially addressing in our case, we also work with a lot of women who work from home, and these are mothers who have restarted their career with us, and they also need small breaks. So setting up an entire schedule where you know who's on break at what time, other people are informed about it, and there's a proper time schedule and structured things are in place. I think this is definitely going to help you in ease out the entire remote working structure for you. Also, I want to importantly address that it is not just the time overlap, but also the departmental overlap. So we as an organization have multiple departments. We have a proper HR department, we have admin, we have finance, then we have entire operations team, marketing, sales. Things are spread across multiple verticals. So this time overlap and this proper structuring is most important for running an organization seamlessly when it comes to remote working culture, remote working. Second and most important thing, which I think people need to implement, is setting up the right system and processes, which is more like an extension of the time overlap. But if you need to have a proper system and process in place, and of course for us as an organization, it was very, very experimental and took us almost like 3 years or initial 2 years, but just spent in setting up the system and process, because the system and process are not very, very clearly mentioned and laid out with. And I'm not saying you need to have a proper SOPs or things like that, but if the broader system and processes are not in place, I think things will not function. So you need to definitely have some sort of system and process in place, and to enable those system and processes, right amount of tools should be introduced. So one of the biggest questions that I was asked by most of the people on my that post was on Instagram was that how do you ensure accountability, productivity, that people are really working, and it's a very open-ended question, I would say. So I think there are a lot of tools, and maybe I can make a separate video where I talk about multiple tools that we as an organization use for internal communication, external communication. But most importantly, you should definitely have right tools in place and also the matrix. So you can also create an internal KPI and internal KRAs. They should be well documented. It can again be a part of a system and process. But if you have right tools in place along with right system and process laid out, and most importantly along with the right tracking matrix, I think things will definitely go very smoothly for your organization. Last but not the least, I think the trust and the culture plays a very important integral part in an organization. And when you're working remotely, it's not just the accountability, but the trust and the culture which helps you to grow. And that is what I have personally seen and realized in my past 4 years of Codesign Labs, especially 3 years of Codesign Labs, when we grew as an organization, that if your people, if your employees, if your freelancers, if your contractual workers to feel that they're just a resource and not a part of the organization, they will definitely not be able to work towards the bigger goal. So having regular meetups, which can be digital or virtual, having constant interaction, aligning them towards the organization's goals. Of course, it's a long-term thing. So setting up a virtual or digital culture is also very important. So if a few of these things are taken care of, time overlap, setting up system and processes, setting up the KPI metrics to track whether things are happening or not, and of course implementation of the right tools, I think a lot of things can be done very smoothly. Respect people's time as per the availability, set up proper structure, set up proper time overlaps, and I think things should go really fine. Again, addressing the bigger point here, in wake of this coronavirus, I think a lot of organizations have moved remotely, and now I think it's time a lot of people realize that a lot of things can also be done remotely. So covering the tools and things in detail, I will have another video. I'll put that on another video. But I think I believe that these tools and tips and few best practices will definitely help you. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section below, and I'll be I'll try to answer them as precisely as possible. Yeah, so that's it from my side today. I'm Dilnawaz. I'm the founder and chief analyst at Codesign Labs, and thanks for watching this video. And do not forget to share this with your co-workers, your employees, your team members, and I hope this will be of some help for you in setting up the best practices around setting up the remote work culture for your organization, and which can definitely also help you in the long run. So yeah, good luck guys, stay safe, and happy working remotely.